My gut reaction whenever my son decided he wanted to donate his kidney was a mixture of fear and um, a little bit of pride, but a lot of anger and anxiety because I didn't think he understood what he was really talking about. The idea mainly scared me, but that's also my kid. And he'd never had a stitch or a broken bone, so the thought of him having an organ removed, I knew that that was going to be much different than he was putting on. He looked at everything through rose colored glasses.
So I never really thought about donating my kidney or anything before. It was right after my grandpa had passed away. I wanted to donate because of my grandpa because he died of kidney failure and bone marrow cancer in a mix of both. We couldn't treat the cancer because of the kidney, and we couldn't treat the kidney because of the cancer, so we just had to wait it out. The donation process, from my perspective, from what I can remember, it was a lot of blood work, a lot of it. Uh, I had to go in at least 8 or 9 different times. It was a lot of driving, and it was during COVID too. That was the peak of COVID. Like as it was starting to rise up in the States, I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and donate my kidney here. It's a great time.
The surgery had actually gotten postponed several times for different reasons. And in my head, I kept telling him that that's probably a sign that we should probably not be doing this right now. You may need that kidney later on. You're brand new. But he didn't want to hear any of that. So whenever the time finally came and it was actually happening and there was no more hiccups, no more getting called off, I was terrified. And it was right during COVID, so you couldn't go into it in the hospital either. So I couldn't be in there with him.
The day of, I was feeling really anxious. I my mom and I, we had drove up to the hospital together because I couldn't drive myself.
I tried to make everything excited for him the morning of the operation because he was very excited and I was proud of him. It's a big step, but I was so scared.
Well, things are rough. Oh my goodness. I mean, like, the floor is actually lava rough. I can't, bro.
About probably 11 was whenever they were like, okay, things are going a little rough. But they had to go back in 3 different times into the OR. And when they finally called me and said that, they weren't going to be able to close him, that was at 9 o'clock at night.
One of the complications arose to plenty more while they were taking my kidney out. They had accidentally nicked my renal artery, and they didn't know. But they took me into the recovering room, and so they had me on monitoring stuff, and my blood pressure started dropping, and my heart rate as well. They were losing me. I was about to die. Dr. Kofi gave me a sternal rub on my chest. I wasn't coming to. So they rushed me back into the operating room and cut me open from the top of my stomach to the bottom. And after they had cut me open, they couldn't close me because I had gained 25 pounds in water weight. So I was in a wound vac. It was like this blue thing in my stomach that kept my intestines from hanging out. That was the only thing that kept my intestines from hanging, like falling out of my stomach, which is a really weird thing to think about.
I was stuck in the parking garage by myself, listening and waiting for these phone calls. A surgical tech that called me, his personal, she said that she was going to clean up and she was going to meet me in the parking garage and bring me up to his ICU room. And it warned me that that meant he was on life support, and to prepare myself for what that meant. It was gut wrenching to see him in that predicament.
Hey guys, miss y'all. Hope y'all are having fun.
The physical part was probably the most strenuous on me, though. I had a I had to relearn to walk after the surgery and everything because I was in the hospital bed for maybe I think it was 7 days, no 5 days. It was for 5 days before I actually was able to get up and start moving around and stuff. And after I did, I could maybe only get 5 feet away from my hospital room before I had to get back into my room. And it wasn't even the hospital room. I was in the intensive care unit. My mom, she grew me. As she said several times, she grew this kidney. She grew my kidney, but it was my kidney. But she was obviously really worried because it's her baby boy going through this huge operation at 20 years old.
Look at you in the sunlight.
I know, it's weird.
How's it feel?
Alright. Thank you, sir. No problem. Have a good night.
Thank you. You gotta go home, son.
Move my meds so I can sit down.
Maybe.
Donating a kidney changed a lot of ways that I think. I had held on a lot of grudges in my heart, but after almost dying and waking up, you realize that there's things a little more important than just grudges. So I learned to just wipe it away, really, and just move on with everything. And I've honestly have had a much better outlook on life than before.